My name's Shona Hobart and I'm very proud to be the principal of Peggs Creek Primary in Karratha. Peggs Creek is a little independent public school. 300 children is about where we're sitting at the moment. That means we have about 30 staff all up. We have a very transient staff which is comprised of pretty much a young staff, often graduates, and we have teachers from overseas and interstate. Peggs Creek's journey into the Australian curriculum began about 3 years ago. Our early childhood education unit worked collaboratively together, and they decided to jump in and have a look and see how they could actually start implementing the curriculum. Last year Peggs Creek had a literacy leader, and her focus was predominantly working with new staff, helping them to plan using the Australian curriculum and then implementing their programs. And her role has been to unpack data through NatPlan and On Entry, working with collaborative groups on the staff, so it's done in groups in our school. And we're now heading into a coaching phase as well. So she's working in consultation with our numeracy leader. They meet with the teachers and they set goals of how they're actually going to address the Australian curriculum. So teachers are in different phases of implementation. Some of them are focusing on planning, some of them are focusing on integrating resources, some of them are focusing on how they're going to weave the proficiency strands into their programs. So that is a huge support to our whole staff, and that's why the Australian curriculum is working well at Peggs Creek.
I'm Lisa Campbell, currently work at Peggs Creek Primary School. I'm the Deputy Principal and I'm also the numeracy leader. As Deputy, one of my key roles is about structuring the timetable so that teachers have shared planning time that allows them opportunity to have that discussion around curriculum, around assessment and around planning at the same time. So as the numeracy leader at Peggs Creek Primary School, we've developed a tool that sets up a list of questions to unpack teachers' understandings about Australian curriculum, to look at what they understand about the structure of Australian curriculum. We look at how they plan using the Australian curriculum, incorporating the content descriptors as well as the achievement standards and their role in terms of assessment. And those questions are informing not just myself as the coach, but also the teachers about where their potential focus for some professional learning may be. So they go away with that, and we work on about a 9-week cycle, meeting about every 2 or 3 weeks, just to see how they're going in terms of trying to achieve their goal that they've established through those questions and that reflection, and come back together and basically have a celebration at the end of that because we can see progress.
An invaluable resource that we've had the benefit of accessing is some federal funding for the Literacy and Numeracy Partnership Program. That has enabled us to be able to release staff to work collaboratively to attend professional learning in Perth. So we've been able to keep going with our capacity building program within our little school context, and it's been a huge investment which is continuing to give back to our school.
My role in this school is quite diverse. I'm a Year 2 teacher, but I also am the curriculum leader for our curriculum team for history, and then I've also taken on the role to be the history leader for the Karratha network. Another activity that I have done is surveyed my staff and found out where there were gaps in their knowledge of the Australian curriculum in history. So then I researched and developed professional learning in historical skills and historical knowledge and understandings, and facilitated professional learning sessions within my school. As my role as a classroom teacher, I've looked at the Australian curriculum history documents, and I've linked them to what we were already doing with the WA syllabus as well. And then that way we identified some similarities and differences, and it also gave us a bit of a clear direction of the gaps and where we did need to go to make sure we were covering Australian curriculum. I've also had a look at doing some integration between history and science. So for example, in history we were looking at transport, and in science we were looking at push and pull for physical sciences, so that was quite a good match-up. I've also done some integration with English and history through guided reading, writing, and also some speaking and listening as well.
We also have built into our school curriculum committees, and we have some teacher leaders who own those groups and run those groups with their colleagues, and that drives the curriculum throughout the year. They report back to whole staff, and they'll be integral in our whole school planning process, feeding back where our school needs to go, are we resourcing it effectively, and have we provided teachers with enough professional learning to continue the journey.
I'm Elise Taylor. I teach pre-primary and year 1 students, which is 4 years through 7 years, so I have a multi-range age in my class. We have been using the Australian curriculum down here at this level of our school for 2 years, where we have been planning, teaching, assessing and reporting straight from the curriculum. Additionally, I am on the science committee. At the start of each year in our professional development days, we get to choose which committee we would like to go on. I chose science again for the second time. I am the secretary, so we have a chairperson at the school who will tap into any professional development that we have, whether it is down in Perth or whether we can organise someone to come up here. I'm the secretary, so I get to organise all the money and buy all the resources that we require to be able to run our science lessons right the way through the school. With our resources that we have, we use the primary connections, which are all Australian curriculum aligned. The students' understanding has just been amazing, and we've actually been able to, from pre-primary for the past 2 years, follow those students on in their progress, and we've been able to see a huge improvement of their understanding and their knowledge of the 4 concepts in science. So it's been amazing to see and track. Yeah.
My name's Nicole McDonald and I'm a Year 6-7 teacher here at Peggs Creek. I'm a graduate, so this is my second full year out of teaching. I did my degree through the University of New England in New South Wales, and I'm very lucky because the Australian curriculum was endorsed in 2010, so I was exposed to the Australian curriculum while I was still training. I really like the Australian curriculum being online. It's accessible all the time. I've got the app on my phone if I need it as well. You've got the achievement standard there, so you can see what the students are meant to be able to achieve at the end of the year, and then you just click into the content descriptors and you can see how you can actually get your students there. So if I'm tracking a student's progress and I want to see where they're at, I can go straight into the scope and sequence and track back through the years so I can see exactly where I need to make up work for them. Resources now are Australia-wide, so I can get a resource from New South Wales or Queensland and I don't need to then try and change it to fit in with a different curriculum. It's all there for you, so we're all working smarter, not harder.
The other area that we're having a strong focus in is making sure that we're educating parents in our journey. That's being done through newsletters, through individual case conferences, and we've organised parent sessions after school and in the evenings. So much so, yesterday I had a case conference with one of our families, and our Year 1 teacher, who's been part of the process, was able to say that the Year 1s she has received this year, who have had 2 years of Australian curriculum programming, are vastly different to last year's Year 1s, so we're already seeing the evidence coming through. So preparation has been ongoing, supported through staff meetings, through the coaching throughout the year, and we've still got a long way to go, but the professional dialogue that is happening when I go into any coaching or collaborative teacher meetings is inspiring, because teachers are already there. They're speaking the language, they're passionate, they're working together, they're planning for the future, and I know that reporting is not going to be a problem for our staff this year. As a new principal to Peggs Creek, I've been overwhelmed by the power of the local P&C. Very, very proactive, very interested in all aspects of the school community life. They care about the future of Peggs Creek, and they work tirelessly to support the teachers and the staff, and I believe they are a lot of the reason of why Peggs Creek is such a beautiful school over this transient period of leadership that they've had recently.